So what was your philosophy when you came to Iowa? I'm just going to keep bringing you back to Iowa City once in a while here. What was your philosophy of how to run the class and what to do when you got the go-ahead from Dr. Seiberling? What
You didn't need
going
any
through your head?
philosophy, it was blow glass.
Yeah, okay, blow glass, but blow what kind? Well, first of all, we had to make a studio.
Right, and we had to I believe we bought benches from Paoli Company
from Harvey Littleton, right.
and blowpipes and tools. And that was all there before the class started. And a needling oven was a top-loading pottery kiln.
Right.
And it was, I believe we put oven controls on it so we could turn down the elements.
I remember using bricks in the door for the adjustment of temperature. You put different size bricks to crack the door a little higher and a little lower. But it did have low, medium, and high.
Yeah. While we were working, we controlled it that way.
We controlled the temperature that way, yeah.
But then we had the control.
Right, but then we had the low, medium, and high controls, yeah. But very, very primitive.
Yes, extremely primitive.
By contemporary standards.
And a lot of failure of not annealed.
Yeah, or slumped, or both.
Yes, and then Rubino gave us a piece of his silica fiber insulation, about 4 inches thick, just big enough to go on the top of the oven.
Ah.
So we didn't use the heavy brick door.
Ah.
And then we heated it up to 1800 for something, to cast something, or I don't know what. Or it accidentally, somebody ignored it and it went up too hot, and the silica fibers all melted. They were only good to 1800. You don't remember that?
No. Was that in Iowa or in Toledo?
That was Iowa. That was first semester. First summer, I was very embarrassed. And I felt horrible because it was a nice piece of insulation and it was ruined.
Yeah.
Then we had to put the old door back on.
Yeah.
But that's the first thing he used on sold to NASA.
Right.
Was the silica. And they didn't work. They didn't insulate at a high enough temperature.
Is that ice
but no.
down there for that workshop?
Yeah.
He came down that first summer, the 64 summer. Yeah.
Well, that's right. And we went up to Madison.
And we also went up there.
And I'm looking for that little piece of his that's usually in that cabinet that he blew.
Nope, it's
that summer.
No, it's over at the studio.
They don't have it.
They had a weekend workshop at Madison, or an open demonstration. I don't know what it was. Something went on that the public was invited, or the glass blowers were invited to come and watch Irwin and Harvey blow glass.
Yeah.
And Clayton, I think probably about half the class drove up.
Oh, it was more than half, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
I know I drove.
And we had lunch, and Bess made a beautiful soup for us, and had lunch, and sat around there in Harvey and Bess's dining room around the table and talked about glass and things. And
basically, the class was concerned with technique. We couldn't talk about philosophy. Mm-hmm. And one of the problems was that I was a potter yet. I was still teaching pottery at Cornell, and and I didn't really make the transition completely from pottery to glass until the town shut down my salt kiln. Mm-hmm. Up till then, I was still making excellent pots, exhibiting pottery. Mm-hmm. But when they shut it down, as I was filling my van with the kiln and going off to the landfill with the van sitting like this on the wheels because of the bricks in the back, I thought, okay, if I can't blow glass, if I can't fire pots in my yard, I'll switch to glass.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. Interesting.
But at the time, that first class, all I did was talk about vessels. Did not really do anything about making sculpture out of blown glass.
Yeah, yeah.
And I continued that. Well, I taught just 3 summers at Iowa, and then I didn't teach again until I came to Toledo in '71, so.
Didn't teach glass
Didn't
until
teach glass, right.
you came.
And so, but I continued to make glass pots all through the 60s and 70s, which was completely out of style. At that time, that was considered a real no-no. You had to, the only reason for blowing glass in your own studio was so that the artist could make sculpture. According to,
Now that's the, okay, this is very good that you say that. That's the Harvey Littleton mantra.
and
That was not Labino, that was not Pizer. There's a whole lot of people that continue to make vessels.
yeah,
But Littleton he wanted to make the break, I think,
yeah, he did.
away from the vessel because he saw that his pottery wasn't going to do it, but that he could do it with glass.
Yeah. Yeah. But he did make a complete break. He not only made a break when he switched from clay to glass in '62, when he started the first class there, but his whole personality changed.
Really?
Yes.
What was that?
He was a
change
humble
like?
potter.
Before?
As a potter,
The pre-Harvey Littleton?
As a potter, Harvey was humble. And when he got into glass, he became an arrogant.
And on and on and on, right?
I remember when Pat and I were visiting Harvey and Bess, summer of '62. No, it was summer of '63. And up till then, he had taught pottery and glass, 1 class of glass and
pottery.
pottery.
And the glass students first had to come out to Verona to his shop.
Right.
And the pottery, of course, he would teach at school.
And he announced to us that he was going to stop pottery completely and hire a potter who turned out to be Don Wrights to replace him. And Pat and Bess and I argued with him for the next hour or 2 of why he just can't do that. He's got to stay in pottery.
He didn't want to, though.
We really ganged up on him, but it didn't have any effect on him at all.
He didn't sign his pots?
That's right. I
He didn't.
have one that's not signed.
He didn't sign any of them. And the prices went up by, let's see, from $5, that's 500%. Actually more than that, because I bought a piece of glass from him the summer of '62 or '63, this big, very crude, just plain marbles, no color, $25. And at that time, if he had made a pot that big, I don't think he would have asked $5 for it. It probably would have been 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I traded him a handmade shirt for this one.
All wool, tailored shirt.
Want that in the shot?
Unsigned.
Unsigned, yes.
Signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we were, everybody was self-taught. I wasn't able to teach much. I just barely I gained skills that summer.
Yes.
And as I recall, I was staying about 2 weeks ahead of the students. And then the second summer, '65, you were in that class as well.
Yes.
And at the end of the summer, I couldn't stay. We were going someplace. And I couldn't come down and use the studio after the class was over, so I told you could.
Right.
And then that fall, I came down to see you in Iowa City and over at your house. And I walked in and saw the glass that you'd made while I was gone, and you'd gone way ahead of me. I felt almost as bad as Harvey did when he went to see Labino in 62, 63.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
No, I think it was 62. I think it was the summer of 62, the first class that Harvey taught. They went down to Labino's, Toledo, for Thanksgiving. Or not,
Now wait a minute. 62, there was the June workshop in Toledo. So Harvey really didn't work
he started the
much.
class the fall of 62.
The fall, yeah, right.
And that Thanksgiving, Marvin's told me this story. Marvin Leposki's in the class,
Yeah.
and he said they went to see Labino, and they walked in, and Labino had 2 or 3 sheets of plywood set it up on sawhorses with 8 pieces of glass going across the 4-foot width of the
Dimension,
thing, and row after row of 8 pieces of glass.
Yeah.
And Harvey saw it, and Marvin said it was the most depressing weekend he's ever spent. A gray cloud of doom came
Yeah.
out over Harvey.
Yeah,
Nick had suddenly became a glass blower, and Harvey, had blown probably a few weekends that summer.
yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, it exploded. The skill level and the experience just grew leaps and bounds, exponential growth
Yeah.
curve.
Yeah, but the demos and workshops that were constantly going on
Yes.
spread the skills. Anybody learned anything, it was immediately. I remember one time that in that period, Harvey started making these. He was trying to make sculpture all along.
Right.
Well, then he got the brilliant concept of getting a little piece of marble about 3 inches square cube and gluing his glass to that.
Right.
And you know it's sculpture.
Right.
Well,
There's no hole at the top. The hole is down, glued, closed against the marble. And because it's marble, it's art.
somebody reported that a picture of that appeared someplace. And within 1 week, Marvin had copied it and somebody else
Yeah.
had too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suddenly everybody was buying marble
Right.
bases.